A visibly confused Donald Trump had another cultist rally that went treasonous in Reno, Nevada the other day. We're going to look at some moments from this and consider the incredible nature of the crowd that loves these absolutely un-American and, again, borderline treasonous ideas from the failed former president. Donald Trump told this crowd of cultists in Reno that Joe Biden launched an invasion against the United States and says that what Joe Biden did, I guess through border policy, is as if Joe Biden went to the military and said, please attack the United States. What?
Their country. Our border had never been stronger, but then Crooked Joe came in and he launched an invasion against our country. This is an invasion. This is like a military invasion.
It is like a military invasion. You know, presidents, past presidents, they can criticize what current presidents do. They often don't. George W. Bush said, Obama's president now. It's not about coming in and criticizing. I know how hard the job is, etc. That's a position that one can take. But if you are going to criticize current presidents, you should maybe do it in a way that's not borderline treasonous in the way that Donald Trump is doing. The president launched a military invasion against our own country. What on earth is this guy talking about? Trump continuing to refer to criminals and authoritarians in a positive light, again bragging that he's been indicted more than the great Al Capone.
I don't know. I hear different stories. Did anybody ever hear of the great Alphonse Capone? Al Capone, great head of the mafia, right? Mean Scarface. He got a scar that went from here to here, and he didn't mind at all. But he was a rough guy. Now, I heard he was in.
This is crazy, by the way. This is if you're wondering what is this about, it's just bonkers stuff.
Indicted once. A couple of people told me a few times more. But I was indicted 4 times, and Al Capone, Alphonse. You know, if he had dinner with you and if he didn't like the way you smiled at him at dinner, he would kill you. You'd be dead. By the time you walked out of the nice restaurant, you would be dead. He got indicted once. I got indicted 4 times. Over bullshit, I got indicted. Bullshit.
There you go. It was just complete and total BS. Trump now unable to deny that the unemployment numbers genuinely are pretty damn good. His new one is saying that the unemployment numbers when he was president were real, but now you can't trust the jobs numbers. This is a classic move. Denounce the same statistics you relied on when they were convenient as fake when they are no longer convenient. Unbelievable.
We're going to cover them. Biggest tax increase in history. When we had the biggest tax decrease ever.
By the way, that's a lie.
Think of it. Ever in history of our country, the biggest tax cut, the biggest tax decrease in the history of our country, the biggest regulation cuts in the history of our country, the best job numbers in the history of our country, the real job numbers, not the fake job numbers that they get.
There you go. The jobs numbers now are fake. Unable to contend with the fact that unemployment hasn't been this low for this sustained a period in 50 years, Trump is now relegated to saying the jobs numbers are fake. Of course, we've heard this before from these loony right-wingers. This is the same way we've measured unemployment for decades and decades. There's nothing special going on right now. There's no particular trick that's being played. Unemployment is just genuinely that low. Trump then bragging about things that can be done with a telephone. And this is when he went into sort of like visibly confused word salad mode.
Wouldn't take him back. I got a thing called a telephone. You can do a lot with a telephone.
Right.
You can do a lot. I did it with France. They were going to put taxes on American companies.
Yep. And thanks to George Santos, who invented long distance calling, Trump is even able to call Europe these days. Trump said that Americans who disagree with him politically are more dangerous than the authoritarian leaders around the world. This is the authoritarian dictatorial stuff. You have a different opinion about politics than me, you're just as dangerous as a dictator. This is what we're up against.
We're fighting against some really vicious people within our country. We have vicious people outside, but I believe truly that the people inside of our country are far worse because we can handle with the right president, in particular president, We can handle China, Russia. We can handle North Korea, Kim Jong-un.
Right. Right. We can't handle all of these people who disagree with me in the United States, but we can handle dictators around the world, which, by the way, Trump completely failed to handle. When he was talking about how to fix the Affordable Care Act, Trump says he did almost fix it last time, but John McCain, the late Senator John McCain, prevented Trump from fixing it. Not my recollection of what happened.
We're going to make it much less expensive for people with much better health care, and we're going to get that done. We almost got it done, but John McCain voted against it. That was a bad day. Remember that? Thumbs down after campaigning for 10 years. Thumbs down, everybody. Let's put your thumb down. Campaigned for 10 years on it, and then he put his thumb down. So,
you know, my recollection was that what Trump and Republicans proposed was going to lead to tens of millions of Americans losing health care coverage. That was what the analyses of that plan determined. And then in August of 2020, after silence for years on the matter, Trump told Chris Wallace on Fox News, in 2 weeks, we will have a new health care plan signed into law. We never heard about it again. And then lastly, kind of capping the xenophobic part of the speech, Trump randomly saying Barack Hussein Obama, apropos of nothing.
Coming up to me saying that the Obama administration, has anybody ever heard of Barack Hussein Obama? Remember Rush? Barack Hussein Obama. Remember Rush Limbaugh? He would talk about Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh, yeah. It was so clever when Rush would do that.
Rush. Gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. He is missed, greatly missed.
Yeah. Remember when we just would randomly say Hussein? The crowd loves this stuff. The crowd loves it. The crowd wants more Trump. He's got 63% support now in the Republican primary. We must vote to stop that from becoming 4 more years. That's the bottom line. That's what's at stake. One of our sponsors today is Manscaped. They make excellent products. You've got the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This is Manscaped's 5th generation body trimmer and groin trimmer. You've got 2 next-gen blade heads, your standard trimmer blade for taking off a little bit of hair, the foil blade for taking off a bunch of hair. All of Manscaped's devices are waterproof and perfect for the shower. You'll also want to pick up Manscaped's Crop Soother Aftershave Lotion and Crop Preserver Anti-Chafe Deodorant. Whether you're shopping for yourself, maybe there's a guy in your life, Manscaped offers the perfect bundle with everything. The Performance Package 5.0 Ultra includes the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra Groin Trimmer, the Weed Whacker 2.0 Ear and Nose Trimmer, Manscaped's liquid formulations, and 2 free gifts, Manscaped's Boxers 2.0 premium underwear with moisture wicking technology, and the Shed 2.0 toiletry bag. I have all of this stuff at home. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code PACMAN at manscaped.com. The link is down below.